My mother was born in Estonia, moved to Poland, then Austria in the Second World War, and wound up in Sweden as a refugee of war, where she later met my Dutch father, who has German roots. I was conceived in Sweden. I grew up in Holland, but lived most of my life in Switzerland. I speak 5 languages. How do you want me to say something about my country? It's impossible. My family lives all over the world: USA, Canada, Germany, Sweden, Portugal, Switzerland. It's endless. I feel European, and I don't know how to answer this question. Again, I'm sorry, I have to use a few words. Poetry in general, a way to better capture what is conveyed between the lines. One of my favorite poems is Möwenlied. It's a German poem by Christian Morgenstern. He lived end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century. The first line is, Die Möwen sehen alle aus, als ob sie Emma hießen. It's translated in English, the seagulls, and the first line would then be, the seagulls, by their looks, suggest that Emma is their name. Well, it's the use of language beyond the use of language in a way, as I just kind of alluded to. And then it depends on the poem and also on the language. I read in several languages and come upon poems in several languages. And the point that I'd like to make, that it is beyond the words that compose the poem, and therefore what is written between the lines, is conveyed very nicely by the poem Jabberwocky of Lewis Carroll, which is full of gibberish, but still brings so much atmosphere and meaning without actually saying what it is. And then also very nicely has been translated in many languages, which is absolutely an incredible feat to translate gibberish into gibberish, but in another language. It has to do with my languages. Clearly, my better language is Dutch, because I spent my youth in Holland. But I also read in French and in German and in English. I guess that I capture best the meaning when it's in Dutch. Then probably comes German, then English, then French. I don't think I have the expertise to formulate an informed opinion on that, because I certainly haven't read all poetry from all these countries, just a fraction of it, really a minuscule fraction. I guess that on average, you could say that the culture and the archetype of the culture resonates in the production in poetry of the countries. But that's kind of obvious. And then, I mean, I'm also biased because of what I've been reading. I mean, I'm not very much familiar with more classical poetry in French, for example, more familiar with more modern poetry, Boris Vian, Jacques Prévert, these kind of authors. So I'm biased in that direction, whereas I've been more exposed to more classical poetry in my own mother tongue, Dutch, and have therefore a slightly different opinion on Dutch poetry.